So, Princess has reportedly blocked Camilla from using part of the Sandringham estate. But the way she did it is actually more interesting than the event itself, because this was not a dramatic family argument, a leaked message, or the kind of royal gossip people usually hear about. Instead, it involved lawyers and official legal paperwork. Princess reportedly asked her legal team to formally record the usage rights for a specific part of the Sandringham estate. Because of that, Queen Camilla was reportedly unable to use that area for the summer visit she had planned. This is where the story becomes unusual, because the royal family normally does not use lawyers to settle questions about family property. They usually rely on tradition, personal trust, and quiet family agreements that have existed for generations. The fact that and reportedly wanted everything written into legal documents suggests that those old understandings may no longer be enough. Before explaining why this matters and what it may reveal about the relationship between these two women, where we explore these royal stories every week. Now, here's what is said to be happening. Sandringham is different from Buckingham Palace or Windsor Castle. Those royal residences are part of the Crown estate, meaning they are connected to the nation through a long-standing constitutional system. Sandringham is different because it is privately owned. Queen Victoria bought the estate in 1862 as a gift for her son, the future King Edward VII, and since then it has passed from one monarch to the next as private property. It does not belong to the government. It belongs personally to the king. The estate covers more than 20,000 acres of countryside in Norfolk and includes several houses. There is the main Sandringham House, Wood Farm, where Prince Philip spent much of his retirement, and Anmore Hall, where Prince William and Catherine have their country home. For generations, Sandringham has served as a royal family's private retreat. It is where they gather for Christmas, where Queen Elizabeth spent much of her later life, and where they can spend time away from public attention. Because it is privately owned by the monarch, access to its different buildings is usually being managed through family trust and tradition rather than legal contracts. That system works well as long as trust remains strong. The reported tension between Princess and Queen Camilla is not something new. It is said to go back many years, reaching all the way back to the complicated history surrounding Charles and Camilla's relationship during the 1970s. When Charles married Diana, deep divisions formed within the royal family, and the collapse of that marriage, together with the public events that followed, left emotional wounds that were never fully healed. Camilla faced years of strong public criticism before she was gradually accepted as Charles's wife and later became queen. During those same years, Princess built a reputation as one of the most disciplined and hard-working members of the royal family. She consistently carried out hundreds of official engagements every year while keeping her private life largely out of the public eye, and has always been known for believing that duty comes before everything else. That difference in outlook is one reason why Anne and Camilla have often been seen as having different opinions during private family discussions, and is generally described as practical, direct, and unwilling to compromise on matters of duty. Camilla's approach is often described as placing greater importance on personal relationships and long-standing social connections that existed before she officially joined the royal family. According to reports from palace sources, the relationship between the two women has remained polite but distant, based more on mutual respect than personal closeness. Most of the time, those differences stayed quietly in the background, but recent events are said to have brought them into clearer view. The issue that reportedly led to the current situation was a continuing controversy surrounding Prince Andrew. Andrew's removal from public royal life has been one of the biggest royal stories in recent years. After the public attention surrounding his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, Andrew lost his remaining royal roles and stepped away from official duties. Reports later said that he left Royal Lodge at Windsor and moved to Wood Farm, a much smaller house on the Sandringham estate. The situation became even more difficult as further legal developments reportedly brought additional attention to Andrew and increased pressure on the royal family. According to royal sources, Princess was genuinely concerned about her brother during this difficult time, whatever public opinion may be, and reportedly believed that Andrew should still be treated with basic dignity because he remained her brother. She is said to have supported treating him with compassion even while the monarchy continued to distance itself from his public controversies. Reports also claim that Queen Camilla took a different position. According to those reports, she believed that showing any visible support for Andrew could reopen painful public issues that the monarchy had worked hard to move beyond. In her view, protecting the institution meant keeping as much distance as possible from Andrew and the problem connected to him. This created a direct difference in opinion between the two women, and reportedly focused on family loyalty and compassion, while Camilla reportedly focused on protecting the monarchy's public image and long-term reputation. Both sides have reason for their views, but the two positions cannot really work together. This disagreement over Prince Andrew appears to have made the already existing tension between and in Camilla much stronger. When two people already disagree on an important issue like how a disgraced family member should be treated, it becomes much easier for other disagreements to become more serious as well. That is the background to what happened next. Princess Anne's legal team reportedly prepared official documents that secured her family's rights to use a specific wing of the Sandringham estate that they have used for many years. It is important to understand exactly what this means. Anne is not claiming ownership of any part of Sandringham. The estate still belongs personally to King Charles. What Anne reportedly did was change an informal family arrangement into a formal legal agreement. This kind of legal arrangement is actually common on large family estates across Britain, where several generations of the same family use different buildings over many years. Lawyers often prepare official occupancy rights or legal agreements to avoid future disagreements. That practice is not unusual among old aristocratic families. What makes the situation different is that the royal family has traditionally relied on trust, custom, and informal understanding instead of legal contracts when deciding who stays where at Sandringham. For decades, nobody thought it was necessary to involve lawyers over family accommodation on the estate. The fact that Anne reportedly felt official legal documents were now needed suggests she may no longer have complete confidence that informal family agreement alone would protect her household position. The timing has also attracted attention. Reports had suggested that Queen Camilla was considering spending more time at Sandringham during the summer. Camilla has long enjoyed the estate's countryside and peaceful surroundings, while King Charles usually spends long periods of the summer at Balmoral in Scotland. Sandringham appeared to be a comfortable place where Camilla could enjoy a quieter stay while still remaining close to royal life. However, by formally securing her family's rights now, and reportedly made sure that the part of the estate connected to her household could not simply be reassigned to someone else. The practical result is easy to understand. A possibility that may once have been open through family discussion has now reportedly been closed through official legal paperwork. That is where the story becomes especially interesting. If you think about what Camilla may have lost, it is not simply another building. For many years, long before she became queen, Camilla had her own private refuge at Ray Mill House in Wiltshire. That home gave her a place to escape the pressure of royal life and keep a sense of personal independence. Even after marrying Charles, Ray Mill House remained an important part of her private life. More recently, however, reports have suggested that Camilla has been spending more time within the royal estates and gradually giving up some of that independence. Because of that, having a quiet summer retreat at Sandringham would not simply have been convenient. It could have become a new private place within the royal world, replacing some of the independence she had slowly left behind. If that possibility has now been blocked, it was reportedly done not through a family argument that could later be settled with conversation, but through legal documents that are much more difficult to reverse. Whether Camilla had definite plans for that particular part of the estate or whether Anne acted before any decision could be made, the reported result is the same. A possible retreat is no longer available, and a decision was made through an official legal process that sends a clear message about personal boundaries. This situation also places King Charles in a very difficult position. Sandringham belongs to him personally, but the disagreement involves two of the most important women in his life, his sister and his wife. Both Anne and Camilla are known for being determined, independent, and firm in their beliefs, and Charles depends on both of them in different ways. Anne has always been one of the monarchy's most dependable members, carrying out a very busy schedule of official duties and quietly supporting the institution behind the scenes for many decades. She has remained a steady figure through many difficult periods of the royal family. Camilla, meanwhile, has become an important partner in Charles's role as king. After many years of public criticism, she gradually earned greater acceptance and is now widely seen as a calm and supportive presence beside the monarch. Charles needs both women, and that makes choosing between them especially difficult. At the same time, the royal family is already dealing with several major challenges. The effects of the Prince Andrew controversy continue. Prince Harry remains outside the working royal family. Charles has his own health concerns, and the monarchy continues to face significant pressure. The last thing the institution needs is a public disagreement between the Queen and the Princess Royal. Because of that, reports suggest Charles has chosen the traditional royal approach for now, remaining silent, avoiding public comment, and allowing the situation to settle without forcing an immediate solution. However, silence does not always solve disagreements. Very often, it simply delays a moment when a decision must eventually be made. If lawyers have now become involved in questions about family property at Sandringham, it is unlikely that the issue will simply disappear on its own forever. The use of legal documents in managing Sandringham is a very important change for anyone who follows royal history. For generations, the royal family decided who stayed in different houses through informal agreements, quiet conversations, and personal trust. Family members were expected to work things out without lawyers or official contracts. So when legal paperwork becomes part of the process, it suggests that those old systems of trust are no longer enough. By asking her legal team to officially record usage rights, Princess Anne reportedly turned what was once a family understanding into a formal legal arrangement. Sandringham still belongs to King Charles, but written agreements are much harder to change than verbal promises. What once depended on trust now carries legal weight. That change may show that relationships inside the House of Windsor are moving away from old traditions and becoming more dependent on formal rules and legal protection. When families begin relying on lawyers instead of trust, it often points to deeper issues behind the scenes. Sandringham has always been one of the royal family's most personal places. It is where they celebrate Christmas, enjoy peaceful walks through the Norfolk countryside, and spend time together away from public attention. Some of the family's most private memories were made there. Yet even this special place has not escaped the pressures affecting the modern monarchy. Anne's reported legal move has turned part of the estate into a symbol of family division. For Queen Camilla, it may feel like an unexpected barrier and perhaps even a personal rejection, whether that was intended or not. For King Charles, it shows how difficult it is to balance family relationships with his responsibilities as monarch. It also raises an important question. If the royal family now needs legal documents to decide who can stay in different parts of their private estate, what does that say about the current state of their relationships? The biggest royal disagreements rarely happen in public. They often take place quietly behind closed doors through legal paperwork that may never become major headlines but can still change the way family members live and interact with one another. Looking more closely at Princess Anne's reported decision, there may be more behind it than simply the Prince Andrew situation. Throughout her life, Anne has always taken a practical and long-term approach. Gatcombe Park had been her country home since 1976, giving her independence, but she has also spent many years at Sandringham with her children, Peter Phillips and Zara Tyndall. The estate holds decades of family memories for her. Because of that, her decision to legally protect her family's access to part of Sandringham may not simply be a reaction to current tensions with Camilla. It may also reflect careful planning for the future, making sure her side of the family keeps its place within the estate for many years to come. That careful planning has always been part of Anne's character. She rarely waits for problems to appear before acting. Instead, she thinks ahead, prepares early, and takes action before difficulties grow. The wider picture is also important. The royal family is going through one of the biggest generational changes in modern history. For more than 70 years, Queen Elizabeth was a central figure who held the family together. Her authority, experience, and leadership shaped how disagreements were handled. When she passed away, that balance changed. Charles became king, but many believe he does not have the same unquestioned family authority that his mother held. Because of that, the old methods of quietly settling disagreements through personal conversations and respect for the monarch's wishes no longer appear as strong as they once were. In this kind of situation, it actually makes sense that Princess Anne would choose to protect her position through legal agreements. It does not necessarily suggest drama or fear. It suggests that she recognizes the old system depended on Queen Elizabeth, whose authority kept everything together, and that the new system is still finding its balance. In that sense, the legal paperwork acts as a bridge between the old way of doing things and whatever the future monarchy will become. It also helps make sure her family's place is protected during that period of change. There is another important side to the story as well. The royal family now faces far more public attention than ever before. Every royal expense, every property, and every decision about who uses which residence is closely watched by both the media and the public. The days when family members could quietly move between royal homes without questions are largely over. In that environment, having clear legal agreements may actually protect everyone involved, including Charles and Camilla, if questions ever arise about who is using certain parts of Sandringham and why. Official documents remove uncertainty and provide clear answers. While Anne's main goal may have been protecting her own family's interests, another result of formal agreements is greater clarity and transparency in a system that has traditionally relied on private understandings. That is not necessarily a bad thing for a monarchy that continues to present itself as modern, responsible, and well-managed. Some people have argued that this entire story is being exaggerated. They believe Camilla may never have wanted that particular part of the estate, or that Anne's legal move was simply routine estate management that the media turned into a family dispute. That is a reasonable opinion because royal stories are often exaggerated. However, there's another way to look at it. Within Britain's aristocracy, and especially inside the royal family, property is rarely just about buildings or land. It also represents status, influence, and a person's place within the family. When someone formally secures a right to use part of an estate, they are doing more than protecting a physical space. They are confirming that their place there is permanent, officially recognized, and not dependent on someone else's approval. That sends a powerful message, especially when it involves someone like Princess Anne, who is known for acting carefully and rarely making unnecessary moves. Because of the reported differences between Anne and Camilla, the timing of these legal arrangements, and Sandringham's long history of being managed through trust rather than paperwork, many people see this as another sign of changing relationships within the royal family rather than just a routine legal matter. It is also worth looking at the situation from Camilla's point of view. For many years, she was one of the most criticized women in Britain. She faced intense public anger, was blamed for the breakdown of Charles and Diana's marriage, and spent decades trying to earn public acceptance. Even after marrying Charles and later becoming queen, there continued to be reports that some members of the royal family have never fully accepted her as one of their own. Imagine them being in that position and learning that your sister-in-law has officially secured legal rights that prevent you from using part of the family estate. No matter how politely it is handled or how reasonable the legal explanation may be, it could still feel deeply personal. It may strengthen old feelings that, even after all these years, you are still not fully accepted within the family. Whether Princess Anne intended to send that message or not is impossible to know. But intentions and impact are not always the same, and the emotional effect on Camilla, if these reports are accurate, would likely be difficult to ignore. This also raises important questions about the future of Sandringham. King Charles is getting older and has publicly acknowledged health challenges. When Prince William eventually becomes king, he will also inherit Sandringham as his private property. William and Catherine already have a strong connection to the estate through Anne Hall, where they have spent many years raising their family. Their children have grown up there, riding ponies, exploring the countryside, and creating memories just as earlier royal generations did. When William becomes the owner of Sandringham, how will he deal with family issues like these? Will he keep the legal arrangements that Princess Anne has reportedly put in place, or will he return to the older tradition of managing everything through trust and family understanding? He may also introduce his own ideas about who should use different homes on the estate. These are important questions because the way royal property is managed affects family relationships, and those relationships affect how well the monarchy functions. When a family is dealing with disagreements over homes, access, and property, it can become distracted from its public responsibilities. Another question is whether Anne's reported legal move could encourage other members of the royal family to do the same. If one family member officially secures usage rights, others may choose to protect their own positions as well. Prince Edward and Sophie have their long-standing home at Bagshot Park, while Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie also have connections to royal properties. If the royal family begins replacing informal agreements with legal documents, it could completely change the way the family manages its private affairs. Some people would argue that clear legal agreements prevent future misunderstandings and reduce conflict. Others would say that bringing lawyers into family matters weakens trust by replacing personal understanding with legal contracts. Both views have some truth, and the answer probably lies somewhere between the two. It is also impossible to ignore the role of the late Queen Elizabeth. Even though she is no longer here, her absence is at the center of this story. While she was alive, she was a person who quietly settled family disagreements. Her influence did not come from legal authority, but from the deep respect every member of the family had for her. Very few people wanted to disappoint the Queen or add to her burdens, so there was a strong reason to settle problems privately and maintain family unity. Since her passing, that powerful influence has disappeared. Charles is now king, but he is also a brother, husband, and father, making his family relationships more complicated than his mother's were. And does not look to Charles in quite the same way she looked to Queen Elizabeth, and neither does Camilla. As a result, the old ways of quietly solving disagreements appear weaker, while formal legal arrangements seem to be becoming more common. That may be a natural change, but it also marks the end of something important within the family. Looking ahead, the most likely outcome may be a long period of quiet tension. Charles will probably continue avoiding public involvement, and will continue carrying out her duties with her usual determination while knowing her family's position is protected, and Camilla will likely find other private spaces, either elsewhere on the Sandringham estate or at another residence. The royal family will still gather for Christmas, smile for photographs, and appear united in public. Yet behind those public moments, the relationships may have changed. Trust, which may already have been tested, could become even weaker. Even so, the monarchy has always survived difficult periods. It adapts, moves forward, and continues at work despite internal challenges. But every change comes with a cost, and in this case, that cost may be measured in family relationships. The real question is how much of that trust remains and whether there will come a time when it can no longer hold everything together. For now, the reported legal work has been completed, the documents are reportedly being put in place, and one part of Sandringham has become a symbol of the distance between two women whose relationship has long been described as polite but not close. The story continues, and many people will be watching closely to see what happens next.